So, guys, DraftKings right now, what do you think the spread is? What do you think the spread for Adesanya versus Jared is? Are you ready for this? Izzy is a plus 420. That's crazy in my opinion. I lean towards Adesanya. 4-1? What are you talking about? I feel like this is a major case of perception being a reality. Who is the bigger name? Without question, Adesanya. But this follows our sport all the time. And boxing is just as guilty. When you have a guy that's twice as popular, he goes into a fight as a 2-1 favorite every time. If a guy is he's 3 times more popular, he goes into a 3. You've got Izzy at 4-1. Let me tell you where this is a problem, okay? I can make a very strong case. I get how great Adesanya is. I get how dominant Adesanya is. But hold that thought, okay? How are you going to beat Izzy? Let me just ask you a very realistic question. You're a smart guy. You follow sport. How are you going to beat Adesanya? Well, Chael, here's what you're going to have to tell me. You're going to have to tell me some variation of you take him down and you keep him there. And you're going to have to go all the way back to his debut where he takes on Marvin Vettori and he got held down, he got taken down, and he got held there. You're then going to fast forward as you're telling me about the ascension of Adesanya and how wonderful he was. And you're going to talk about the fact that Derek Brunson couldn't take him down in the first place. And then you're going to talk about the fact that when Kelvin Gastelum took him down, he threw up a triangle choke before he scrambled and got to his feet. Then you're going to eventually fast forward into the Yoel Romero fight where he wasn't even taken down. I understand the whole thing. I really do. But I didn't ask you, how does Izzy beat you? I asked you, how do you beat Izzy? I want you to really focus on that question. Now, if you play that same game with Jared Cannonier, you're going to come to the conclusion that you go out there and you outstrike him. Israel Adesanya is better with the punches and kicks than Jared is at taking people down. That's the conclusion you're going to come to. But if I ask you to just go to their very last fight, don't go any further than that, just back up one. Jared Cannonier did not get outstruck. The very thing that has Izzy Adesanya a 4-1 favorite, which is the elbows and the knees and the hands and the feet, the very thing, it didn't happen to Cannonier in his last fight. I feel as though people are forgetting that. In fact, the shoe was on the other foot. Cannonier beat Brunson, but he lost the only completed round, which was the first round. He lost that night by getting outstruck. He got taken down and he got held there. It's very relevant that you understand that because we know in this sport you're only as good as your last fight. We love to say it all the time. We love to match guys up. We love to look at their popularity. We love to look at their rankings. We love to look at the commas and the dollar signs and the zeros in their paycheck, all based upon their very last fight. And I will tell you a second time that Jared Cannonier in his last fight did not get outpunched and outkicked. Jared Cannonier didn't go out there and think that he had to take down his very last opponent, who was Brunson. Didn't think he had to hold him into the fence and get to the clinch and drag him to the mat and eat up some time and gain favor with the judges. He didn't do any of that. So for Adesanya to beat Jared, he's not going to be able to do what just happened in Jared's very last fight. It's relevant that you know that because you love to talk this way every other time. You love to forget about a body of a career. We love to forget about what a guy's done in his past. It's what have you done for me lately? We tend to operate on that under this sport. You're telling me that Izzy Adesanya is a 4-1 over Jared Cannonier? Excuse me. If I was to go something called Google and I was just to do a search, I will find that Izzy Adesanya has tweeted 4 times for every cough that Jared Cannonier's done. I will see that Izzy Adesanya has been contacted by Brett Okamoto and Mark Ramonde of ESPN for every 1 time that Jared was asked for content. This is 100% a case of a guy's popularity backing up what his odds are. DraftKings, I'll tell you what, had I not known right now that DraftKings had Izzy as 4-1, if I wasn't armed with that, which I was not armed with 25 minutes ago when I sat down in this chair, I was not armed with that. I knew I was going to discuss this piece. I knew I was going to bring the odds to you. So I bring up on my phone, I look at the app. 420. If I was to guess, I would have told you 2-1. And 2-1 is a very good guess. You're talking 2-1 out of 25 minutes. So the better part of 3 rounds, can Jared Cannonier put Adesanya in more precarious positions than he's going to be put in? Will he be able to touch somebody more? Everybody always talks about you got to hurt the guy and you got to do a combination. All this game is I touch you and you don't touch me. That's it. That's all we're doing in MMA. You can talk about black belts and experience, and this guy's master, and this guy's father did this, and his brother said that, and his mother loves him more. You can do this until you're blue in the face, and it's a whole bunch of fun. I do it every single day. At the end of the night, whoever touched the other guy more times than he got touched wins. DraftKings believes 4 times to the effect that Adesanya can touch Jared more times than he can get touched. That surprises me. Not to mention, if you were to look at Jared's very last fight, of which 1 round was completed, of which, by the way, he didn't win. Before you think that's a knock against Cannonier, excuse me, it is just the opposite. That is a guy who can learn on the go. That is a guy who can adjust between rounds. That's a guy who can look what just happened and put it behind him, which not very many athletes can do. If you can live in the moment in sport, you will be great at your sport. If you ever go into a fight, you go into a baseball game, whatever it is, and prior to the competition, you're trying to win the competition. It's all you're thinking about. You're nervous. You can barely have breakfast that day. Maybe you didn't sleep so well the night before. You're just thinking about the outcome. You are not what World Championship material is made of. If you have, let's just use a fight in this situation. There happens to be 5 rounds. If you can stay 1 round at a time, you are going to be a main eventer. You are going to be in front of everybody else. If you could break that down into 30-second intervals, you'll have done something no athlete's ever done. Does that surprise you, the audience? If you're able to look at this next 30 seconds, it doesn't matter what happened before, and it doesn't matter how many of these intervals I have to do the rest of the night. I can just live in this 30-second moment. You will have done something no other athlete can do. It's not even realistic. It's not even realistic to stay in the moment as much as you want to say it. If you can just go by rounds, which Jared Cannonier proved that he could do, he did that in his very last fight, evident of the fact that he lost the one and only round that was completed. He came back. He not only changed the trajectory of the fight, he flipped it so damn bad that he went from losing the round to winning the contest in its entirety. That is not the kind of a guy that you put at 4-1 money. That's the kind of guy you look at and you're impressed with him as a competitor. Then you've got to guess all of the intangibles. He's done no media. He stayed locked in. He stayed completely focused. They bring him out to UFC events. He does a quick cameo. He's not showing any emotion. He's locked in the moment. Those are the scariest guys. You'll never get a guy that can live in the moment. I'm telling you that right now. And if you ever meet someone that can even do it in 30, you think a round is 5 minutes, or you can break that down into 5 one-minute rounds. If you go even further, you have 10 30-second periods. As simple as that seems, what I just said to you, there's not a fighter out there that's ever been able to do it. And I don't propose for you that Jared Cannonier can live within 30-second intervals or even 5 60-second intervals. But he has proven to us that he can do it in 5-minute increments. And you're going to tell me that guy's a 4-1 dog? That's good money right there. It surprises me. I think it's a mistake. Jared Cannonier's up against it. Jared Cannonier is the B-side. B-side times 4? No, I don't think so.